The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello there. Welcome to the show. It's brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors is our show propaganda. They will offer you a 10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. If my peripheral vision is correct, you can see this on YouTube, by the way, as well as listening in your podcast app. Michael is hastily Googling or opening the Levi's website.
I'm doing something completely different, actually.
And looking at some of that, because I set you the challenge of doing something beyond the usual lazy, tired, wills probate, conveyancing.
Which I remembered.
Trifecta, yeah.
So I'm introducing the big B3, 4B, big three for business.
Right.
Which are commercial dispute resolution, commercial property, and let's say employment.
Yep.
Note them down so I remember the B3, 4B next week.
What I want you to do is get to next week. And there won't be a propaganda next week, will there? Because international. Oh, we'll find something. We'll find something. Just because I want to hear you basically mess this up again on behalf of Leeds.
I've nailed it.
How's your commercial dispute resolution going on? Is that right?
Not got one, have I?
No.
All got sorted out.
Who by?
Levi Solicitors.
Did you pay full price?
Nope.
How much?
I was going to say by AFC Bournemouth.
Got 10% off, didn't
Yeah, legal fees. How did you do that?
I? With our discount.
Yep. Well done. Thanks, Michael. Ever the pro. Moscow's here as well. Hello, Moscow.
Hi, it's the levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball, isn't it?
It is. It really is, yeah.
It's as easy as that. I don't know why you make it so complicated.
I know that.
But you got to tell people, not mind readers.
It was better coming from you.
Could,
right.
Draw it in pen across the front of your head.
Let's get on to the show. This is propaganda, where we find out what's being said in the football world. We look at it through a Leeds prism, of course. Should we start with Leeds then? Find out what the reaction is to our 0-0.
Let's get it over and done with.
What, like the game?
The Leeds bit. It's 0-0, wasn't
So
it?
enthusiastic for the well thought out, considerately sent opinions of our members. Let's get through it.
Right.
Just the Leeds bit, you know. It was,
do me a forward tease then. What's coming later on in the show?
Well, Chelsea lost, Scum lost.
Yeah.
So perfect.
So there you go. Don't worry about the Leeds United stuff on this Leeds-related podcast. We've got Chelsea and Man United coming.
They lost, though. I mean, we wouldn't ordinarily cover them.
We will be mocking a poor simple boy in the form of Rory Jennings as well.
That's very true. And Johnny United making
he's back.
A comeback as well, who's not been seen for a while.
Johnny United was great fun. He's from round my part, isn't he? Round Bradford Way.
Yes.
And he used to sign off his streams or his output, whatever it was, his YouTube videos, very, very hastily.
See you later. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah.
Used to do it like that.
Going from pure anger to see you later, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in a bit. Anyway, let's kick off with the Leeds reaction, part one.
Very weird experience driving up to Leeds on Saturday. The car was full of optimism. We were discussing how many we were going to put past Wednesday. When was the last time we won 2 in a row? And then a couple of pints, all going well. And fucking hell, full time, walking back to the car. Didn't even need to look at the league position. Fucking 15th after that shower of shite of a game.
Rooter forgot the golden rules of playing in front. Kick it really hard at the goals, around the goals, close to the goals.
Due to holidays, I can't get to Elland Road again on my season ticket until October 28th against Huddersfield. And based on today, sounds like it might not be a bad thing. I tried to be glass half full, so didn't lose. Clean sheet for the first time in forever. That's it, they're the positives. Slow start to the season now. 3 games at home without a win. 3 games we probably should have won all 3 of them. So we need to get moving, but international break for the new signings to bed in. But my God, that is a bad result today.
Only Leeds United could sign the best striker in the league after years of crying out for a fit and firing striker and instantly play him as an attacking midfielder.
No goals against the worst team in the division, and I really don't think we have any players that could change that game. Dan kind of mentioned that this needs time to bed in. I'm not a gardener, but I think for that analogy to work, it's got to bed in before winter. And frankly, winter's coming.
That's from Game of Thrones, isn't it? That's from the TV programme Game of Thrones.
It's their famous catchphrase.
Yeah.
Every show's just like leading up to when somebody's going to say it. And that's what's been... The whole tension was built up around that, wasn't it? Never seen it.
No, me neither. You've seen it, haven't you?
Game of Thrones, no.
Oh, I thought you had.
No. Tits and Dragons, apparently, as I said the other week.
Oh, I think you said that. I think that made me think you'd watched it.
There was a former colleague of mine. I said to her, "What's it about?" She goes, "You haven't seen it." I said, "I'm not seeing it." I said, "What's it about?" She went, "Oh, tits and dragons."
Okay.
So there we go. John Luke Colombo's gone in on us with 2 feet about our horrific treatment of Ruta, which has been absolutely mild. Like, I want him to succeed, little Jorginho. And I think he praised his brilliant goal at Ipswich. Maybe not so much the finish against Sheffield Wednesday when he went one-on-one with the keeper.
I mean, I think we've been all right to him, haven't we? We've certainly not...
I love the man like a brother.
We've certainly not laid into him at any point.
He was, I mean, the thing is that miss was so glaring.
Sorry, just to explain it says, why not support the lad after quite a long diatribe from the detective in the Mac? Saying, why not support the lad? Do your part with your platform. It's like we've never slagged him off, have we?
I don't think so.
No.
We've kind of wanted him to score some goals, which is, I think, is reasonable enough. When
Yeah, but credit in the bank, that's a myth you lot invented to justify giving the players you like a pass. Simple as that. We didn't invent that, did we? The idea of credit in the bank.
Well, one could wonder if Jean-Luc is just saying all this because it's about a player he likes.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So it works. Anyway, old Farke, I quite enjoyed what Daniel Farke was saying about Rutter, which what did essentially come down to he needed to hit it harder and into the net, but also get some luck. But he's saying, he said he spoke to him, said the solution is not to overthink things too much. When you have a situation, when you find it difficult to bring the ball in the back of the net, don't try to be too artificial in your approach. And he's described, we've got some new terminology from Farke where he says twice, come on, you have to be there with a brutal finish. And then sometimes the ball gets deflected in and then the curse is broken. And he reiterated this. He said, I want to go for clinical, brutal finish. Which I don't know why we signed Glenn Kamara.
Hey.
Boom. Because he's from Finland.
He's no finish.
And
he's 27.
This is what Ruta has to learn and will learn, but all strikers have sometimes the spirits, which I think he means like the curse.
Hang on a second. Shut up, shut up. Why is he not using his platform for good?
Well, he is. He's supporting him. I mean, he even said...
No, he hates him.
He said as well that he said, I was a striker as well, and when you're not scoring, you can't really explain. Sometimes you have times when you find it unbelievable difficult, which is a variation, to use your chances to score, and sometimes you just have to look at the ball, and the ball goes in anyhow. And you can't really explain it. So
I think I said on the match ball, he just needs a bit of confidence, doesn't he? Like he had the moment at Ipswich. Great for his confidence, but he didn't look full of confidence when he was through one-on-one with the keeper at Ellen Road, which you hope will come in time.
I didn't watch the full game back because I remember it being quite bad the first time and I couldn't really face it. But I did watch the highlights. And I will say to his credit, it was a nice weight on the pass he put through for Somerville.
It was lovely. I was about to mention that. And I think his chance at the other end was a good save from the keeper when Somerville put him through on that.
Sorry, yes.
He was one-on-one. They kind of returned the favour to each other. And you could kind of see things, what was working with those, because obviously the big complaint is that we weren't clinically enough, or we didn't have the clinical, brutal finish, and we weren't creating enough. But actually, those are two good, well-created chances of putting a player putting another player through one-on-one, basically in the 6-yard box. One's a good save. I think Somerville's finish actually, although it's not as glaring as Rutter's, it's equally like you could have done better with that. I don't know if Rutter could have done better with his shot that's in the 6-yard box. It was a good save when the keeper gets his hand up. But Somerville's has kind of flicked it into a keeper who's already diving low, and it was difficult to do anything else, but it's still kind of like
I put
the best.
I put Rutter's first half chance and Somerville's second half chance in roughly the same category.
Yeah.
It's the one that Rutter, where the keeper's stranded. It just needs knocking over the top of him, doesn't it?
They desperately want Somerville to get more end product as well. Just thinking in terms of final ball finishes, stuff like that. He does it occasionally, just to do it more consistently.
That's with all of them, really. That's basically the story of the day. There was a lot of really good build-up, and you just like a slightly better final pass. Or like Rutter, the best thing he did all day, I think, was when he... and it was great from everybody who was involved, and I mentioned it on the match ball. I think it's Nyonto ends up back-heeling it down the line, and then he goes and
when he broke down the left.
Yeah, and he batters their number 5, just dumps him on the ground, and then running into the box. And it's where we'll come on to where Joel Perreault plays soon enough, I think. It's where you're looking for it to be cut back to the penalty spot for Farke is convinced that Perreault should be arriving late to finish these, and instead he just kind of passes it along the goal line to the goalkeeper. But it's kind of getting used to those. But just to say, dropping that defender was like a new thing. It's kind of learning what you can do in the EFL, because maybe in the Bundesliga when he's been played before, and certainly in the Premier League, it could have been a free kick in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And it's getting into that game by game of going like,
actually,
it's all right, you can just kick him.
Yeah.
And the referee will play on. He's like, oh, okay. And then he tries it and it works, and then he fucks up the.
Well, I was going to say with Rutter, I think what is slightly confusing about Rutter as a footballer is obviously the price tag is a hindrance for him, and people judge him based on that. But it's that he either looks absolutely brilliant or terrible, and there doesn't often feel like there's an in between. Like he does something marvelous, like the goal at Ipswich, and you think, bloody hell, that takes a real kind of it's a maverick quality to do what he did, to turn into that gap, and just cut through and then put the ball in. And then you see him go through one-on-one like that and just spoon it into the keeper's hands. And, all strikers miss chances, we know that. It's just kind of you're waiting for him to kind of find that average, aren't you, somewhere in the middle, I think.
Yeah, there's not the kind of rubbish consistency you're almost used to in Championship strikers. Someone who'll just put in simple chances and stand in the middle and do Steve Morrison at Millwall things, I suppose. Because Steve Morrison, you could give him that ball that Rutter receives at Ipswich, and a million times he's never once scoring that goal that Rutter scores. But then other times, not for Leeds. He might just be stood in the middle to put it in the goal.
We can romanticise the likes of Steve Morrison somehow.
Can we?
Though, because if you take Perot's chance in the 10th minute, that's the kind of thing where edge of the penalty area, put through, with the goalkeeper should be just burying it, and he put it like 6 yards wide. And you'd imagine Steve Morrison at Millwall or Billy Sharp at Sheffield United or players of that ilk. But one, there's not many of them, which is why I'm struggling to name too many of them. David Nugent or somebody. And two, even those players end up missing chances. Like Perot scored, 19 last season, 22 before. But I bet he missed a load like that along the way, because 22 is less than a goal every other game. So that means the other 24 matches, he was doing stuff like that where he's just putting the ball wide. So every chance can go in. The problem is that we've got one of the things with Rutter learning who he can kick and what he can do, it's also like getting the consistency of like how to score goals. I put it in my match report, just how little football our front three behind Perot, or in front of Perot, in and around Perot, have actually played, where it's like
get to know each other. That's good.
The one with the most starts is Somerville with 46 starts. I didn't bother with substitute appearances because that can be a bit iffy. But 15 of those were in the
Eredivisie 2, was it?
Yes, before when he was 16, and then he made like another dozen in the Eredivisie when he was 17, and then since then he's been at Leeds and he's got like an average of 4 starts a season, which is not. It's no rhythm. He's not got that muscle memory of just, I go here and I put it there and it goes in and it's a goal and it's awesome. So it's kind of, I think that's kind of why I didn't mind it on Saturday, because it's watching a team working out how to do it, getting it all together, working out what works, learning how to play, rather than, we've seen other teams recently at Leeds where it looked like they were unlearning things by every single game. And there's supposed to be that kind of people, maybe it's one of those things people say about, it's like when we got promoted to the Premier League and people are, we'll be happy if we finish 17th every year. Nobody was happy about going anywhere near 17th at any time. Everybody absolutely hated that. As the other that you say, we love when youngsters come through and you can watch a young team develop and all, seeing them gel together and grow in front of your very eyes. But then you see them growing in front of your very eyes and developing. That's fucking rubbish. Why are they winning?
Well,
so
I do think I wonder if our brains have been broken a little bit as well in terms of the development of the attack by having people like Pablo and Strachan in the past, and you see a young side failing to break teams down, and you just go, well, we just need someone old who's good. Yeah. Just buy someone old and good, and let them
put in the thing that worked before.
But maybe we can change games in a way that doesn't involve a Pablo type. Maybe Spence comes in and completely opens things up down that side, because all of a sudden there's someone bombing on who can also get back and doesn't cause defensive issues. And maybe Junior Firpo. Anyway, Spence might do something.
It might be, or it might even be a case of, because you assume Glenn Kamara is going to play and start most games, that it maybe does it free up Archie Gray to occasionally play in a more advanced role, something like that. Just to mix things up, have that midfielder a bit further forward to link things up.
Or having another fit striker on the bench, so you can bring on Bamford or Matteo Joseph or someone else. Whereas I think we covered it on the match ball, but it feels like all the subs we had while they're good options, none of them are actually.
There were no sort of game changers there, were there?
None of them. There are probably game changers there, but the ones that were there were not fit or haven't been here long.
That's where the Pablo Strachan thing comes into its own, and where I could kind of understand the feeling of disappointment after the game, because I did watch the whole thing back, and the most disappointing part of it is the last 20 minutes when you can feel that
it was ebbing away, wasn't it?
Yeah, Wednesday have made their subs and they're starting to get some chances, and so it's become a bit more nervous than it had been up to them. The first 70 minutes is basically our players just trying to work out how to score, and it's I found that interesting and engrossing and enjoyed watching it.
I will say, that Pero chance that you mentioned before, sorry, I actually, in the match ball, I forgot that he'd had that, and I think I remember thinking at the time, I never mind about that, he'll have loads more of those today, and he actually didn't.
Well, he had another one where it was pulled back to him on the penalty spot, and his first touch was awful. It was Gnonto and Shackleton did really well, and that was another chance that you'd hope he would be burying, because it seems to fit everything that Farke says about him arriving late and finishing, so that was a shame. But it was that last 20 minutes when it was kind of ebbing away, and you can understand why that's your memory of leaving the ground or watching the game on the visual radio and feeling, oh, that's been a disappointing end. But that was the time when you needed, and we might have done under previous seasons, Pablo comes on and he's like, right, it's all right. I've got this. I'll sort this out. And Strachan in the promotion season in particular, we would go, we'd be grinding through games 0-0, and with 10 minutes to go, it'd be like him and Vinny Jones would be like, let's just sort this out. And it would be, Vinny would start tackling harder to make sure we get the ball, and then he makes sure it goes to Strachan, and Strachan's like, right, I am getting into the box and somebody's getting on the end of this.
Game by the
we're
scruff of the
winning
neck.
this game.
Yeah.
And we don't have that, which is kind of where the shame of the transfer window comes in, of whether Farke is just putting a brave face on the fact that he didn't get any.
There's the free agent market, isn't there, at the minute?
Is there anybody available? Is Jadon Sancho going to cancel his contract and come to Leeds?
David Nugent unattached. Just because you mentioned him earlier, I thought, where's he playing?
Jay Lings has been mentioned a couple of times, hasn't he? Lingard is free, and he would actually plays in that role. But let's not go there. Let's not discuss that. That's for another day.
Let's just leave transfer talk, please.
A couple of people, actually, Jerry Smith and some coward who has put no name on this, talking about us two on the match ball, Michael, saying we should get some perspective. The team's under construction, look at the positives, stop doing our guys down. And it was Jerry who also said it was a lot closer to in thinking to what Moscow said on the match ball. Happy with it for the most part.
It'd be one of those things, if the season develops and it was a game that we just learnt from and didn't lose, and I suppose you can put it down to being, well, fine. But equally, if we miss out on the playoffs by a couple of points, you're like, why didn't we just beat Sheffield Wednesday?
I think the match ball,
they've gone down on 12 points.
I mean, I can't speak for you. I can only speak for myself, but so it was just an expression of frustration. It was a boiling warm afternoon, as I mentioned on the match ball. Temperatures we could barely cope with. It was actually hot in the East Stand. I don't know if it's something to do with the sun shining on that side, but it felt really, really hot. And so I think that's why I think I mentioned the conditions playing a part, because it was very, very muggy. It was very, very sticky walking back down to the studio as well afterwards, and I don't know, it just felt like one of those kind of heavy afternoons in the sun, if you know what I mean. Like the whole.
I think my disappointment was from, it was covered in the clip actually, someone saying going to the game thinking we're going to win this. Yeah, because I really thought we were going to win, and then turning up and it just,
especially after Ipswich as well,
and it just not really happening, which maybe should be expected given the week we had the transfer window and all that upheaval and whatnot, but I still thought we'd have enough to beat them.
Right. You need to live in the moment, Michael. So you've set up too much, like raised it up too much. Is like we're going to win and like put too much on it, but then also saying that the result will only be, or the game will only make sense in the context of how the season finished. You're making your entire life a hostage to next May, and it's like that.
You see, I will agree with that, because I'm trying a lot more now. Like the more time I've spent getting wound up by the transfer window this summer, the more I thought, it's all just stupid. It's stupid. Players will come, players will go. We'll have some new people to cheer on. We've got some new people to cheer on. They're just bedding in fine. And I've listened to what you said in the last couple of years, Moscow, unbelievably. And I'm trying more to just enjoy football for what it is and the good bits of it. And I just think after beating Ipswich and being in there on Saturday, expectation had lifted a little bit. But it didn't quite live up to it, so it just felt a little bit underwhelming. That was all, and obviously those desert-like conditions played a part as well.
But then also is that, I mean, that tension will grow as the season goes on, whether we become closer to the top or closer to the bottom or the playoffs or whatever. So stuff will count. But this is the 4th game of the season. It's the 1st of September. Like, there's no better time to just not really worry about it than now. And so,
but we have to worry because we're carrying 2 years of worry with us. There's an anxiety there about the transfer window. There's the hangover from relegation. You know, people are still carrying a lot of that with them. You can't just let it go because we've had the summer. It all rolls forward together, doesn't it?
But there's also making it as easy on yourself as possible, because if everything...
Why would you become a Leeds fan?
Well, yeah, but if everything depends on promotion or not, that's like the most difficult thing to achieve, because we know how long it took last time, and that it's, you know, it's the same with fans at the top of the Premier League, where it's like this only, you know, the scum result on Sunday where we're like, oh, this matters about whether we're going to win the league or not. If everything is set up about whether you win the league at the end of the season or get promoted at the end of the season, you know, only 23 teams will go up. So you're really pinning everything that happens between now and then on the least likely thing to happen. So it's creating more disappointment than perhaps a 0-0 draw. A very rare clean sheet. That was good. That was new and positive and exciting. Then is necessary, or will actually make you happy, because that's the other thing that happens with stuff like this. If you come out of a win, you go, oh, but we're still, you know, 4 points off the top of the fucking Premier League, and we haven't won the Charity Shield or whatever. It's like, well,
let's say
you'll never succeed.
Hear the other half of the Leeds fan reaction there. Here we go.
5-4-1 formation, cheating, time wasting, referees. Ruter and Perot were both dog shit today. Let's have it fucking right. Shackleton was a standout. He was excellent, as was Spence when he came on, or died Spence, or Jed Spencer, depending on what fucking page you read. Anyway, Farker has to start Spence in the future. Sorry, Bill, but ta-da.
I agree with that Jarvis Cocker-looking fellow on the ball match. It was fine. In fact, it would have been a perfectly agreeable way to spend 2 hours of the weekend, if only the scoreline were to read 2-0 at its end.
So here's why I'm not bothered with this result. First and foremost, far too early in the campaign. But looking back at our promoted season of 2019-2020, lost to Charlton, they were relegated. Lost to Wigan, they were relegated. Drew and lost to Wednesday, 16th in the table. Drew with Luton, 19th in the table. I don't have any more shits to give.
Struck me sitting in the East Stand how bloody hot it was, that it was really hot for the players as well. I was particularly noticed that I thought Ampadu and Gray were nothing like as effective. But I worked out they played all 7 matches this year. It's just as well we got some reinforcements in. But we do need to play with a bit more speed and passion from now on. Just weren't quick enough against that set of deadbeats from Sheffield.
That set of deadbeats. Right, on to clips of other teams then, shall we?
Well, they were a little bit from a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Well, there wasn't a great deal, but Ben Harris...
Does it sound like this? Is it dee-dee-doo-da-da-da-dee-dee-doo-doo-da-da? Because they speak like that in Sheffield, do they not?
He's quite well spoken for Sheffield, actually. I would say.
An outsider.
He's quite a young lad. Who for some reason insists on playing the Stone Roses under all of his talking when he's doing his bits to camera. But this bit is from inside Ellen Road anyway. It's just the game sort of panning out via an away fan's view.
Another great save by Vasquez, man. He's keeping us in this fucking game. Oh, we are getting lucky. Go on! We just had a really good chance to win that one. We should have scored. Oh, man. What, Bannon? Ooh. Lee Gregory coming off the Dom Arthur. This is such a defensive sub, but you know, hopefully we can hold on to a point here. Really, they're all over us. Oh my God, he's off, but that was close. Michael Smith there coming off for Ashley Fletcher. I don't know what this guy's gonna do. God, Pato should have scored. Fucking hell. Rotas just missed a fucking sitter. Oh my days. That was sharp.
I enjoyed how scathing he was about Fletcher. I don't know what this guy's going to do. I'm sure we slagged him off a couple of years ago, saying why did he keep getting transfers? Because we were linked with him when Orta was here. And then he just moves around clubs, not scoring goals. but once played for Man U, and I think scored some goals on loan at Barnsley in about 2001. But there he is, Sheffield Wednesday. That's where you end up.
After the game,
seemed happy.
Right then, guys, back from Ellen Road, and what a result, eh? 0-0. A point on the board for the Owls, and to be honest, I'm well happy with it. Told me today going into the game, would you take a 0-0? I'd have said yes straight away. We got a point. We're off the bottom, surprisingly. Middlesbrough now, bottom of the league. But to be honest, today I think we actually played quite well. Leeds, obviously, with their high line and high press and everything, attacking formation, they kept us on the back foot nearly at all times. But in patches we had nice little counter attacks and breaks, and Windass was sent through and really should have scored at one point. We really had it in us to go and rob it, and I had that feeling that it might happen, but in the end it didn't. But also they didn't score as well, which was the most important thing in the end. And I was just happy that we managed to get away with a point and with a clean sheet.
There we go then.
I quite enjoy his vague tactical breakdown there. I don't think we did have a high line. It's just that Wednesday was so chronic that we just played in their half. So it was absolutely pointless for at one point wasn't all our team just in their half. It's not a high line. It's your team being a load of bollocks.
I had no idea that Middlesbrough were bottom, honestly. That came as a shock to me when you mentioned that.
Just not looking at the table yet.
I'm refusing to engage with the AFL.
Look after 10 games. That was the old method, wasn't it?
Well, it's a mad old table. I mean, that's the other thing that sort of puts everything the weekend is everybody being frightened of Southampton and them going and getting smashed 5-0 by Sunderland. It's just...
Should we hear from them?
I would love to hear which end are we talking? I don't want any merry Sunderland fans.
No, don't worry. This is slightly upset Southampton fans. They've been quite reasonable as well, but I suppose they do have in the muscle memory a couple of 9-0s recently, don't they? So they're probably like...
This feels good.
These things happen.
They got off lucky.
It's basically the gist of what they're saying here.
But let's be fair, those other results yesterday for Leicester and Leeds...
Yeah, this is it.
Do us massive favours. It's not, in the end of the game, not actually that bad apart from goal difference.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is it. It's effectively, if we came up yesterday with a point, we would have been super happy. Well, it's only 1 point then, isn't it? And I think that was when we went 3-0 down, it was a case of, well, that's the best we can hope for now. So we're just, we move on, but we also acknowledge the fact that we haven't had a clean sheet since March 5th. And that for me is a big worry. I mean, I've seen some clinical football here last Saturday against QPR. But again, we were caught at the back on a couple of occasions where a better side would have put us to bed.
The way to look at it is that in the last 2 years, let's say specifically 2 years, since that Aston Villa game, we've had a team that doesn't have a good attack, doesn't have a good midfield, and doesn't have a good defence, and doesn't have a good goalkeeper. And I now think we're in a position where we've got a good attack.
Yeah,
we've got a pretty solid midfield. Defense is leaky, but mainly down the middle, down the wings, it's fine.
Yeah.
And goalkeeper is goalkeeper, and we can go on about that argument forever. But I do think that we're so much better. It's just sorting that back line out.
That is very, very circumspect, considering they lost 5-0 at Sunderland. If that was us, I don't think we'd be as calm about it as that.
No, I don't either.
I love that as well. Like, a better team would have put us to bed. It was 5-0.
I think he was talking about when they beat QPR the previous week. I think he was saying we did win that, but a good team would have scored goals against us.
Okay, well, I withdraw the point and I'll replace it with a different one.
Poor old, is it Bazunu, their goalkeeper? The guy they got from Man City. They basically saying every bit of the team's improved, then they get to him and go, and, well, he's still the same.
A bit like us with Junior Firpo, I guess.
Yeah.
Bless Junior.
Yeah, they're partnering Jan Bednarek with Mason Holgate. It's like, wasn't he at Everton?
Yeah, he's rubbish.
And they've just got Howard Bellis as well from Man City, haven't they? So.
Yeah, they did cover the fact he's rubbish.
So, all our problems, all that everybody's kind of unhappy about from the weekend is going forward. There is maybe a point to make that we do seem to at least have, on this evidence, a better defence than the top of the league team that everyone's assuming go up with. Joe Rodon looks all right. Pascal Strauch
looks handsome.
Strolling this level, and he was looking to some, if you look on either our Instagram or in the match report, there's some photos that Lee Brown, our photographer, took of Pascal. Ridiculous. So that's good. Left back, we're a bit of a, it is what it is. It always is. Jamie Shackleton, it could turn out to be the making of him. We've also got Sam Byram, who looked, I think he just looked like a natural Premier League player in the games he played so far. You could just see why Sam Byram is really, really good. And then on the other side, Jed Spence coming in. So all the worry and the stress about are we going to score enough goals, starting by getting back to actually keeping a clean sheet is probably just as important as what we're doing or not doing at the other end. And then Ampadu, better than Tyler Adams. I think that's clear. Inarguable. Nobody across any of the... how many continents are there?
That's just 7.
Nobody across any of the continents would dispute that. Archie Gray is just Archie Gray. And then Kamara and Groove. So we've finally got a midfield and all better than... Archie
Is that what you're going for? You're going for Groove rather than Grove?
I don't know yet. Archie Gray is clearly better than Mark Rocker will ever be already. And
he's getting good reports. We're going to come on to Loan Watch, aren't we, in due course, about how people... Rasmus Watch.
Do you know what? Let's cover it now, in fact, while we're on it. Because it's not really Loan Watch, it's just Rasmus Watch, because he's quite an...
Well, Mark Rocker is getting really good reports, which bodes well for a future transfer.
That's true. Rasmus, however...
Not so much.
So he played 65 minutes in his first game, got taken off. Played 45 minutes second game.
So it's coming down by 20 each time?
Nope. It came down by 45 this time. Was on the bench, didn't come on.
Right. That's unfortunate.
They lost. Roma did lose, and the Corriere dello Sport are reporting that he's being left out of the European squad as well.
Yeah, he's also been dropped by Denmark, I think.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So I just wanted to check in on how this has affected Moscow's portfolio. We're going to call it a portfolio.
Well, it's a good question, and so
it's the Roma fan token you've got, isn't it?
You bought a Socios one, didn't you?
Did you notice that did you see the retweet I gave that the Leeds United fan token is the lowest priced of all of the fan tokens now?
Wow, so you're saying it's a big buy?
Yeah.
Go big on it.
Buy
now.
low, sell high, and obviously it will climb presumably to unheard of heights soon.
What is the actual price fix? They were offered at £2, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they're about 33 pence or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you like a bargain, so there's that.
I will say, don't buy them. In case anyone is, for some reason, not detecting the sarcasm in this, don't buy it. You're getting nothing.
Right.
You're buying smoke.
Okay. Should we move on to Chelsea? Because we're not in the Premier League. I don't know if you noticed anymore.
No.
But some of the shenanigans that went on over the weekend, I thought, I'm glad we opted not to be in the Premier League anymore. All that VAR nonsense. It's all silly, isn't it?
It's not brought a lot of happiness anyway. It's from the bits I've listened to anyway. So this is... Friend of the pod.
But we are keeping tabs on the Premier League because it's full of maniacs.
Rory Jennings.
Yeah.
So this is the guy.
Well, do you think Rory
will
just say anything?
Well, we'll see. Well, let's break this down. So this is him. We'll first hear him post Forest, where, if you weren't aware, they lost 1-0 this weekend.
Yeah, I was aware of that. Yeah, very funny.
Now look, when I do these videos, I get people accusing me of being reactionary. I get people having a pop at me saying that I'm being divisive, or that I'm tribal, or that I'm biased, or that I cause a problem in the fan, or whatever. And I really don't want to do that. I don't want to be the reactionary bloke. I don't like that model. But how can anybody suggest that Chelsea aren't sleepwalking into a crisis here? It's so apparent to me. And look, maybe I'm wrong. And I'll put it out to you. If you agree with me, if you believe that Chelsea are currently sleepwalking into yet another crisis, can you give this video a like? Just so I can monitor it. Maybe I am missing the point. Maybe I am getting it wrong. But I can see how wrong this is going.
Sleepwalking into a crisis. It doesn't want to be reactionary. I was taking notes here. It doesn't want to be reactionary or divisive. Sleepwalking into a crisis.
And anyone can see it. It's so apparent.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys.
Yeah, do like it as well. Yeah. But so it's apparent now.
Yeah.
Should we hear what we had to say 2 weeks ago?
Let's do that.
I think we did so well. The resilience in this Chelsea team is just incredible. And it was a brilliant proof of concept for what Mauricio Pochettino is trying to build. If nothing else, just compare this Chelsea team, compare the desire on display at Stamford Bridge today with anything that you saw from Chelsea last year. It was so much improved on last season. And I was saying to the lads on the club the whole time, we're going to win this game. I truly believed. And I think that is indicative of who Chelsea are in itself. The fact that I've watched Chelsea play Liverpool at Stamford Bridge and I've been convinced, despite at points losing the game, that we are going to win is huge. Like, I honestly now can't see a world where we don't challenge. We are really, really good. We played with such pride, such aggression, and I am now full of joy about what this team can do this season. I think that we are now a contender, put it that way. And we will fight tooth and nail for every point. I think that is clear for all to see. You know, there is no doubt about it that Chelsea are up for this challenge. And Pochettino will demand that we compete. So, I'm over the moon. I truly am. And without European football to distract us, there is a real chance that we could do something significant in the league.
Now a contender. Sleepwalking into a crisis.
That's completely apparent. It wasn't apparent like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, can anyone be blamed if Rory couldn't see it 2 weeks ago?
Well, a man with his foresight, an evident genius, he will just say anything, won't he?
Pretty much. Shall we hear what he's had to say about Caicedo?
Yeah,
the new exciting midfielder.
See, this is the problem when you sign Caicedo. You spend all that money on a player who's played 40 games. You've seen him play 40 games. Yeah, he was all right in the World Cup. Had a decent season. You spent 115 million. You know, when people were comparing him to Declan Rice, it's like, are you an idiot? Are you an idiot? Declan Rice has been playing brilliantly for, 4 consecutive years. Doing it for England in finals, doing it for England at tournaments, doing it for England at top level, doing it for West Ham, time and time again, being a one-man team, lifting silverware at West Ham, and then getting the big move. And people want to compare Moises Caicedo to Declan Rice. Look, Declan Rice is a different league. It's incomparable. Caicedo may become that, hopefully. Maybe, maybe not. Let's hope he can. But he isn't that today. So why are you spending that kind of money on him? You utter imbeciles. These venture capitalist idiots. What are you doing?
Imbeciles. Venture capital idiots.
So imbeciles choosing to spend that much money on him. Remember the key points. Declan Rice is in a different league. Are you an idiot thinking you're buying anyone even half as good as Declan Rice? And he's not that today. So what have you signed him for?
I just didn't like the way he kept saying doing it.
Fair enough. But So those are his points.
So compare and contrast.
Those are his points, Forrest. Do you want to hear what he was said about Caicedo while they were signing him?
I bet is it consistent with
just as they were poaching him from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you think he was saying those things then?
It's consistent with his previous points that he's just made, I guess.
I think there is a chance here that Moises Caicedo is going to end up a Chelsea player. Now, this is the dream. He is exactly what Chelsea need. You know, at one point, all Chelsea had to do was pay 100 million quid. It's now looking like we're going to have to pay in excess of, 110? But it's so worth it. Make no mistake about it. Chelsea's, I don't want to say our season rests on his signature, but I think our aspirations do. I think we are so desperately in need of a player of his quality. Think about just how good he is. Think about exactly what he does for a team. Think about how important he will be in a Chelsea midfield. He is everything that Chelsea need. And the thought that he could actually end up signing for us is a dream come true. If you look at our midfield, there are some very good players on midfield, but it's lacking. It's lacking in some vital ingredients, and all of those vital ingredients exist in abundance in one player. We solve all of our midfield issues in the capture of one player.
Is he on his own saying all this?
Yes.
A strange way to spend his time.
Presumably because if he wasn't on his own, other people would be going, but you said like 3 weeks ago that Caicedo was going to solve every problem. Well, you never even mentioned
everything that Chelsea need.
You never even mentioned Declan Rice then.
110 million worth it.
Yeah, I mean, the imbeciles who spent 110 million on him, different than him saying it was definitely worth spending spending that money.
It's funny because all his thumbnails, he's like looking across at somebody as if he's talking, as if he's like, oh, it's him. But then he's
talking to you.
You click on, it's just him on his own in what looks like, well, I mean, there's white walls and a white bed. Do you think he's an amnesiac? Because that does happen to people, doesn't it? Like, you struggle to remember things. It's a condition, amnesia, affecting him. Do you think that's it? Is he doesn't like every day? He's just like, I've got a great idea. I think I might start a Chelsea podcast.
Well, have you seen there's the film? It's a rom-com, so you might not have done. But I'm a sucker for a rom-com. I like a rom-com. 50 First Dates. Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore. And due to a brain injury she's got, she wakes up and forgets overnight everything that happened the previous day. Like, she's stuck on the same day over and over again. Maybe that's it. Maybe Rory needs Adam Sandler to come along and whisk him off his feet.
I've not seen it. Is it worth seeing?
It depends if you like easy-to-watch rom-coms, yes.
probably won't be my first choice.
No.
It is funny. All these, one of his,
but it's nice to light some candles, get a bottle of wine, maybe just sit there.
One of his thumbnails, it's him at the microphone with the word reaction next to him. And it's Arsenal win the Community Shield. He's kind of looking out the corner of his eye as if somebody's just walking into the room. Nobody's walking in the room.
Maybe it's Adam Sandler.
He's all alone. But presumably...
It could be his mum.
Presumably, like, people find him so obnoxious that he has to do the thumbnails as if it's like, no, it's all right, somebody else is going to be on this. And you're like, oh, it's not just Rory. I'll have a look. I'll see who he's chatting to, who that is out the corner of his eye that he's speaking across. And then you click on it, oh, no, it's just Rory again, isn't it?
Anyway.
Because maybe all his viewers also can't remember what happened last time. Oh no, maybe this time
it's an amnesia support group.
Rory's gonna have somebody there with him, and he's gonna make some good points. And so, I'll watch it this time. Never happens.
Not only did Chelsea lose, but Manchester United did as well. We mentioned Johnny United further back in the show. Should we go to Johnny United now?
Yes, he was big into his Ollie Out stuff, is when he kind of rose to prominence, but he's moved over to Twitter Spaces, which are a collaborative space where people can have discussions.
Yeah.
But Johnny's style doesn't really suit this, because...
I mean, Rory's doing a monologue. Johnny's actually an expert at it.
So this is the start of... Because thankfully as well, Twitter Spaces now, for a time, if you weren't on them live... You couldn't listen to them. You can go back and listen to record. I don't know if it's something you have to choose, but on Johnny's, you could go back and listen to it.
Oh, why don't you just take Elon's dick out of your mouth?
So this is the start of the stream. No intro to it. This is just how it begins.
Fucking bullshit, man. Absolute bullshit.
How is that offside?
How was that offside?
Yeah,
That was
I
not
don't get
offside.
that. I don't.
It was
I
not
don't get
offside.
that. I don't get that at all,
Fucking
bro.
bollocks, man.
I don't get that at all,
Absolute
bro.
bullshit. And listen, you can all laugh, right? But it's United this week. Next week it'll be our fucking team. Absolute robbery.
Yeah, that's a
Fucking
joke.
How was that offside?
That's a joke.
Oh, it clearly weren't offside. This doesn't stand.
Because it's offside.
Robbery. Listen, I don't care. No one's going to tell me that we're offside. He was onside. He was fucking onside. Bullshit, man. Fucking robbing bastards.
Yeah, I
Fucking
don't.
bullshit. I can handle losing, right, fair and square. But when you get that, it was so clearly onside. It's fucking bollocks, man.
I'm not sure I agree with that statement. You, Moscow.
It wasn't onside.
No,
it was.
And the old being able to handle losing, I've never really seen much evidence of that.
It was really close to being onside.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
Everyone was worried, weren't they, before VAR came in? It's like, oh, what will we argue about? If the decisions are all just clear cut and like we've got the video evidence to show what's happened, there'll be nothing left to argue about. There'll be nothing to discuss. Things like this, Twitter Spaces will just be barren wastelands of no conversation. Talk Sport will have to close. There'll be naught to debate. And yet, it's not only Johnny here doing his... I'm sure that probably went on for a number of hours.
It went on for an hour and 15 minutes, did this space.
But the game itself, and this is where a conspiratorial mind may draw awkward conclusions, had Mike Dean on co-commentary. It's like... VAR was supposed to solve, even if it wasn't supposed to end debates, it was at least supposed to solve a lot of the arguing about refereeing and make things really easy to understand. And yet, 2 years, 3 years into VAR, we've somehow taken it to now that Mike Dean is co-commentating on a game, presumably in case this happens. And it was there when he was like that with the... he fully Peter Walton the penalty from what I could tell. He was like, oh, this is... Yep, that's definitely a penalty. And then as it went on, he's like, oh, he's asking for a review. I can see why he wants a review, actually. And
that's not a penalty.
Yeah, you'd never be giving that as a penalty. He's done very well there.
Not in a million years.
But we don't need that on the co-commentary because the whole point of VAR was it was supposed to be like, right, is that a penalty? No, sorted. Nothing to discuss. And yet, no, we're wheeling it in because, Mike, what's the VAR controversy going to be today? It's like, well, I can't predict the future, but it's definitely going to be one.
I mean, the conspiracy of VAR on this doesn't really work either, given the fact, as you said, VAR did overrule an Arsenal penalty. And if you were trying to gift Arsenal points, you'd probably just let that stand because there was some contact, wasn't there? And it was about as much as a penalty as the one that was given to Rashford against Forest, was it, last week? I can't remember. Scum they've had a really weak penalty anyway. So what I like about Johnny's delivery is that he kind of goes quiet for bits, but then as soon as anyone else speaks,
I was going to say, but you know,
he's a bullshit.
He goes quiet, but what he's doing when he goes quiet is he's not listening. He's just seething, and he's quietly seething.
We need to, if we're going to complain a bit, the referee got a very low score from RTSP Plus members, quite rightly so. But Bannon and his mate on Archie Gray was it Archie Gray or Somerville?
Somerville.
It was Somerville. Yeah, because then 2 minutes later, Archie Gray had his legs taken, and that was a yellow card.
Yeah, the Somerville was he was like scissored in the middle of two people, wasn't it?
It was Barry Bannon arrived about 10 minutes after the ball sliding through, and like absolutely, and he didn't even give a free kick for it, did he?
Nope.
No.
Absolutely mental. Like
bullshit.
Get me on the Twitter Spaces.
Anyway,
robbery.
Back to Johnny United.
So this is. I was listening to this later, as I mentioned, because I just thought I'd check in on him because he's not seen him do anything in a while. But I was like, oh, the Twitter Space is available, amazing. So I thought this was recorded after the game. So this bit came as a real treat.
Listen. Let me say this, yeah. I don't think Arsenal were even good today. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I don't think they were fucking good. I think it was too mixed. What the fuck? Oh no!
Arsenal were terrible.
No! Fuck!
What happened?
It's 3-1!
Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm behind.
Man! Fucking 3-1! You useless bastards!
Absolutely priceless, isn't it?
I just wasn't expecting it. I really thought they were doing it after the game, so to get a live goal going in was amazing.
How would that have made you that much more angry?
I know. It was like the 108th minute or something.
Yeah, they weren't going to, he was already doing the post-mortem of the game. Oh, no, 3-1's worse.
Well, he seemed annoyed because he was going, they'd have beaten us anyway now. But it's like, you can't concede a goal there.
The new goalie's good, though, isn't he?
Oh, brilliant, yeah. Worth spending the money on.
And Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans.
Well,
teaming up.
A bit more on them now, actually. Because I didn't listen to the full hour of 15, because Christ, can you imagine?
Yeah.
But I did listen to a bit more. And I just put together a little cut to get the general vibe of the way it went.
You useless bastards! Fucking dickheads, man. Fucking bellends, man. Fucking bullshit. No, I'm not Ten Hag out. No, I'm not Ten Hag out. I'm not Ten Hag out. Let me make that very clear. But am I looking at him a bit funny? Yes, I fucking am. I'm coming for fucking Glazers. How have we got Harry Maguire and Johnny fucking prehistoric Evans as a centre-back partnership in 2023? Wankers, man. Them bastards. That's on the fucking Glazers. The fucking Glazers. Bastard Johnny Evans! Fucking ghost. Don't fuck all, man. No, but listen. But you're missing the point.
What is it? I can guess. Oh, green and gold until we're sold.
Who was that in the background? Was that his mum coming in?
Oh, there's some other people on his space.
Oh, okay.
Their job is to just try and speak every 30 seconds or so, and then him go, no, listen. You can have your say in a minute, but no one ever gets the say.
You're missing the point.
He just shouts. They get the say until the point he disagrees with them. Then he yells.
Super. Let's close out on Warnock Watch then, because we came up with the theory, didn't we, in the shows this week, that he's trying to talk himself out of a job because he's coming round to win. So I want to be back home, die in front of the fire with Sharon and all that.
A little payoff.
Yeah. So yeah, gets his contract paid up. So he started going in a little bit because the backstory is that the chairman had a little bit of something to say about an unacceptable performance, didn't he, or whatever, and then Warnock bit back. And it's all going to fall apart.
Although they actually won this weekend.
Well, that's undone his plan a little bit, and it's probably scuppered his plan to get fired, hasn't
His
it?
destroy and exit is being scuppered, but this is him trying to excuse himself already.
We are giving everything. The team's giving everything. I'm giving everything, and I'm looking at, when I pick the papers up. It's all right saying we're disappointed. I was disappointed on Sunday when I picked the papers up, and 4 of my main targets in the transfer window in the summer. One had made a goal for a winning team, a smaller club than ours in the Championship. 2 had scored goals in the Championship. And the midfield player was my number 1 target, had got a star in another game. So when I see things like that, because we can't afford those players, it disappoints me as well. Are you with me? Yeah. Because I felt, we could have been in getting 4 or 5 good players to the squad. I didn't realise at the time that my budget would include the players that were re-signed, right? And so I've been disappointed a lot in many things, but I think I've got to keep my own counsel.
Yeah, he's really done that, hasn't he? Yeah, kept a lid on that, haven't you, Neil?
Just fully explained.
Yeah,
what I'm unhappy with. I'm going to be quiet now.
Yeah. I mean, he's so obvious what he's doing, isn't it?
Even down to the detail of who was involved in the budget, and it's also. I mean, obviously we know what he's doing, but Neil Warnock's supposedly the most experienced manager on earth being fleeced by a chairman talking about the budget. He's not explained the budget to me properly. How have you not worked it out? You're supposed to. How do you not know? How is the one thing that Neil Warnock has failed to grasp is Huddersfield's championship transfer budget? That should be something he should be writing it for. It should be implicit in every, like, toast should be popping up in his house, and it's not Jesus burnt into it. It's Huddersfield's championship level transfer budget.
He riles you, doesn't he?
He's done it all as a favour, and now we'll see how that's turning out. Because if you're doing it for a favour, you're not going to whinge on about, but the transfer budget isn't. You're trying to help them out, not I'm going to help you out, but also I'm going to drag your name through the street. But I think also perhaps the chairman could be like, well, we got him in. He said he was going to do us a favour. We're fucking bottom of the league. We haven't won yet. And then they need
at least he's keeping his counsel.
We need Carlos Colburn's West Brom to come along and help out. Kyle Bartley started. It's disappointing that they conceded too.
Well, there we go. That's wrapping it up for this week, Propaganda.
He'd gone off before the winner. That explains it.
We've got some more clips over on the members show. Some bonus propaganda over on there. Some more Chelsea dickheads.
Bit more Chelsea.
Good.
We're recording a bit later in the week as well, so I'm going to have a little look at Newcastle as well, because I suspect they'll be how out by now, won't they? Unacceptable start.
Yeah. So the members show is for members. You can sign up squareball.net/plus if you fancy a bit of that. And we do a bonus show each week. Some bonus bits of propaganda. They're your questions. Their questions. All sorts of stuff.
Songs sometimes.
Sometimes songs by Ken Bates. Yeah, you've been putting together quite an album.
Just stick to promoting the good stuff. It's
questions that we answer. Yeah. We'll catch you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.